Don't forget to subscribe and like so we can keep making videos. If you're ready, let's get started. Nature and the Earth. Everest is not technically the tallest mountain. When measured from base to peak, Hawaii's Mauna Kea is about 10,210 meters tall, making it taller than Everest, though much of it is underwater. Starfish do not have brains. Clouds are heavier than they look. An average cumulus cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds, 500,000 kilograms, which is roughly equivalent to 100 elephants. Mushrooms are not plants. Genetically, they are more closely related to animals than to plants. Octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of the body. The total weight of all ants on Earth is roughly equal to the total weight of all humans on Earth. A day on Venus is longer than a year. It takes longer for Venus to rotate on its axis than it does to orbit the sun. Penguins used to be taller than humans. About 37 million years ago, Colossus penguins stood nearly 2 meters tall. Bananas are technically berries, but strawberries are not. In botany, a berry must come from one flower with one ovary. Giraffes have black-purple tongues. This high melanin content protects them from getting sunburned while reaching for leaves. History and culture. Mammoths were still alive when the pyramids were being built. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. Teaching existed at Oxford in 1096, while the Aztec Empire began around 1325. In ancient Rome, urine was used to wash clothes. The ammonia in it helped remove tough stains. Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than to the building of the Great Pyramid. Napoleon was not actually short. He was about 168 mean, 5'6", which was actually slightly above average for a Frenchman at that time. The shortest war in history lasted 38 minutes, the Anglo-Zanzibar War. Carrots used to be purple. The orange variety was selectively bred by the Dutch in the 17th century. Ancient Egyptians shaved off their eyebrows to mourn the death of their cats. The lighter was invented before the match. The last guillotine execution in France took place in the same year the first Star Wars movie was released. Science and the human body. There are more bacteria in your body than human cells. Like fingerprints, everyone has a unique tongue print. An adult human has about 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels. That is enough to circle the Earth 2.5 times. Your eyes stay the same size from birth, but your nose and ears never stop growing. If you uncoiled all the DNA in your body, it would stretch to the edge of the solar system and back. Stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve stainless steel. You have no sense of smell while you are sleeping. The human heart beats about 2.5 billion times over the course of an average lifetime. A sneeze can travel at speeds of up to 160 km/h. The human brain generates about 20 watts of electricity while awake, enough to power a dim light bulb. Food and random fun. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found edible honey in 3,000-year-old Egyptian tombs. Ketchup was sold as medicine in the 1830s to treat indigestion. The Rubik's Cube is the best-selling toy of all time. McDonald's is the world's largest distributor of toys because of their Happy Meals. Chewing gum increases concentration and cognitive performance. Sea otters hold hands when they sleep so they don't drift apart in the water. Muhammad is thought to be the most popular name in the world. Cows have best friends and become stressed when they are separated. Cashews grow on the outside of a fruit called the cashew apple. Crocodiles cannot stick their tongues out. Space and technology. You cannot cry in space. Because there is no gravity, tears don't fall, they just stay as a liquid ball on your eye. It rains diamonds on Saturn and Jupiter. The tallest mountain in the solar system is on Mars. Olympus Mons is 3 times higher than Mount Everest. The moon is shaped like a lemon. Gravity has stretched it into an oblong shape over time. Space is completely silent because there is no atmosphere to carry sound waves. Approximately 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Wi-Fi signals are generally shaped like a donut. The first computer mouse was made of wood. You could fit 1.3 million Earths inside the sun. If Earth were the size of a grain of sand, the sun would be the size of a basketball. Mysteries of the animal kingdom. A blue whale's heart is the size of a car. A human could easily swim through its primary arteries. Crows never forget a face. They can remember a person who treated them poorly for years and even tell other crows about them. Butterflies taste with their feet. Squirrels are responsible for thousands of new trees every year. This happens because they frequently forget exactly where they buried their nuts and acorns. The seahorse is the only species on Earth where the male gets pregnant. A snail can sleep for up to 3 years. Ants never sleep and they do not have lungs. Sharks are older than trees. Sharks have existed for about 400 million years, while trees appeared about 350 million years ago. Female marmots communicate by whistling. Flamingos can only eat when their heads are upside down. 7. Surprising history and geography. Russia has a larger surface area than the planet Pluto. Saudi Arabia imports sand and camels from Australia. Their own desert sand is too fine and smooth for construction purposes. There are no snakes in Iceland. Additionally, there are no mosquitoes in the country. The world's oldest piece of chewing gum is 9,000 years old. Queen Elizabeth II did not have a passport. Since British passports were issued in the name of the Queen, she did not need one herself. A piece of gold the size of a matchbox can be flattened into a sheet thin enough to cover a tennis court. The Eiffel Tower can grow by 15 centimeters in the summer due to thermal expansion. There are more Lego minifigures in the world than there are people. 3% of the ice in Antarctica is made of penguin urine. Science and the human body. The human tongue is the strongest muscle in the body, relative to its size. A person produces enough saliva in their lifetime to fill 2 swimming pools. The sound of cracking your knuckles is actually gas bubbles popping in your joints. It takes 17 muscles to smile, but 43 muscles to frown. Smiling is physically easier. Your bones are actually stronger than steel of the same weight. The smallest bone in the human body is in the ear, the stapes. The surface area of human lungs is roughly the size of a tennis court. The human brain alone consumes 20% of the body's total energy. Research suggests that blue-eyed people may have a higher tolerance for alcohol. When typing, your left hand does more work than your right hand, about 56%. Daily life and pop culture. Nutella uses so many hazelnuts that they consume 25% of the world's total hazelnut supply. The name Google was created by accident. It was a misspelling of Google, which represents the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. The quietest room in the world is at Microsoft's headquarters. It is so quiet you can actually hear your own blood flowing. In chess, the number of possible positions after just a few moves is greater than the number of atoms in the observable universe. The design of every single snowflake that falls in winter is unique. In old Saudi Arabian tradition, a woman could file for divorce if her husband didn't provide her with fresh coffee. Indian housewives hold approximately 11% of the world's total gold. Lighters were invented before matches. The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. It was fashionable for women to shave them off during that era. Nintendo was founded in 1889 as a playing card company long before video game consoles existed. Space and extraordinary facts. If 2 pieces of the same metal touch in space, they will bond together forever. This is called cold welding. Footprints on the moon will stay there for at least 100 million years because there is no wind or water to erode them. Neutron stars are so dense that a single teaspoon of their material would weigh 6 billion tons. The hottest planet in the solar system is Venus, not Mercury, even though Mercury is closer to the sun. When you cry in space, tears don't fall. They grow into a giant ball of water stuck to your face. 1 light year is approximately 9.5 trillion kilometers. Light travels from the moon to Earth in just 1.3 seconds. There are more stars in the Milky Way galaxy than there are grains of sand on all the Earth's beaches. Jupiter is so massive that it is twice as heavy as all the other planets combined. The Earth's core is as hot as the surface of the sun. The quirky world of animals. Cows have regional accents. Just like humans, the mooing sounds of cows vary depending on which region they are from. Crows hold funerals for their dead. When a crow dies, others gather around it. This is actually a survival strategy to learn about potential dangers. Giraffes have no vocal cords. Because of this, they are almost entirely silent. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. Elephants are the only mammals that cannot jump. Bees can fly higher than Mount Everest. They have been observed flying at altitudes of over 9,000 meters. Anteaters eat about 35,000 ants and termites every single day. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. This prevents the droppings from rolling away and helps them mark their territory. Blue whales eat about 4 tons of tiny krill per day. Octopuses can squeeze through any hole larger than their beak, as the beak is the only hard part of their body. Dusting off history. Using a fork was once considered a sin. In 11th century Italy, using a fork was seen as an insult to God's fingers. The world's oldest university is the University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco. It was founded in 859 by a woman named Fatima al-Fihri. Ancient Greek athletes competed in the Olympics completely naked. Roman Emperor Caligula planned to make his favorite horse, Incitatus, a senator. Matches were discovered by accident. A pharmacist, John Walker, was stirring a mixture with a stick and noticed it ignited when he tried to scrape off a dried lump. The richest person in history was Mansa Musa, the 14th century emperor of Mali. The location of Genghis Khan's tomb remains a mystery. All 2,000 people who attended his funeral were killed to keep the secret. In ancient Rome, crushed mouse brains were used as toothpaste. During the American Civil War, some prosthetic legs had secret compartments that functioned like multi-purpose toolkits. French was the official language of England for nearly 300 years, from 1066 to 1362. Humans and technology. The strongest muscle in the human body is the jaw muscle, masseter. The human nose can distinguish approximately 1 trillion different scents. Your smartphone has millions of times more processing power than the NASA computers used to send men to the moon in 1969. The average person walks about 183 million steps in their lifetime. That is equivalent to walking around the Earth 4 times. Left-handed people live an average of 9 years less than right-handed people. Don't panic. This is a statistical average from all the studies. There is enough iron in your body to make a nail 7.5 cm long. The total weight of the entire internet is about the same as a strawberry when calculating the weight of the moving electrons. Yawning is not just contagious, it also helps cool down your brain. Some people are born without fingerprints. A rare genetic condition called adermatoglyphia causes this. Surprising everyday facts. The world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days. It occurred in China in 2010 and stretched for 100 kilometers. In some Brazilian prisons, inmates can reduce their sentences by reading books. Airplane food tastes bad because your sense of taste drops by 30% at high altitudes due to air pressure and low humidity. The most photographed place in the world is not the Eiffel Tower, but the Guggenheim Museum in New York. Chewing gum while peeling onions will stop you from crying. There are no rivers in Saudi Arabia. Only about 8% of the world's currency exists as physical cash. The rest is digital. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. The man who designed the Pringles can, Frederick Bauer, was buried in one after he died. The letter Q is the only letter that does not appear in the periodic table. Nature and space. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. It is slightly wider at the equator, an oblate spheroid. Saturn is so light, less dense than water, that it would float in a giant bathtub. If the sun went out right now, we wouldn't notice for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That's how long it takes for light to reach us. Bananas are slightly radioactive. They contain potassium-40, though you'd have to eat millions at once for it to be dangerous. There is more gold at the bottom of the ocean than in all the world's banks, but it is extremely expensive to mine. The Earth's rotation is slowing down. As a result, days get about 1.7 milliseconds longer every century. Black holes are not actually holes. They are massive amounts of matter packed into a very small area. The smell of rain after a dry spell is called petrichor. Bamboo is the fastest growing plant on Earth. It can grow up to 90 centimeters in a single day. A bolt of lightning is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Wildlife and animals. Snakes can predict earthquakes. They are thought to sense an earthquake from as far as 120 kilometers away, up to 5 days before it happens. Polar bears actually have black skin. Their fur is not white but translucent, which helps trap heat from sunlight. Male lions spend about 20 hours a day sleeping. The smallest bird in the world is the bee hummingbird. It weighs about 2 grams, less than a single penny. Butterflies don't just live for a few days. While many species live 1 to 2 weeks, monarch butterflies can live up to 9 months. Jellyfish are 95% water. Cows can walk upstairs, but they cannot walk down them because of the way their knees and hips are structured. Ants can lift 50 times their own body weight. Owls' eyeballs are fixed in place. They cannot move their eyes, which is why they rotate their heads up to 270 degrees to see around them. A cockroach can live for a week without its head. It eventually dies because it cannot drink water.